Hi, welcome to my channel. For this message right now, I have two songs, and the first one is Whitney, and it's a song where she's like, "It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway. Pack your bags and leave. Don't you dare come in running back to me." And the other song is by Miley Cyrus, Wrecking Ball. I don't know, maybe some of us watching this, you're a situation where you're dealing with regrets. Maybe regrets towards a relationship, or maybe you have dealt with a relationship that don't serve you. And starting with Whitney, this lyrics, she says somewhere that she says, "Yeah, I'm gonna make it anyway. Pack your bags and leave. Don't you dare come running back to me. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway. Close the door behind you. Leave your key. I'd rather be alone than unhappy." And she says in a part here, another part also, she was like, she says something about how she's already been through all of this before, and that basically she wasn't gonna allow this to repeat itself again. Like, this person wasn't doing all right, is going out the door. So maybe you're in a position right now, in a situation, maybe you found out something about somebody who's close to you, whatever that relationship that you have with that person. Maybe they have done something around infidelity or anything else that has betrayed your trust, and has something has happened that has put affected the trust in this relationship to the point that you no longer want it. Like, the way to go, where you feel like you or both of you feel like the best way to go about this is to release it, to let this chapter end, this cycle that has been repeated. Maybe it's somebody that has been doing the same things over and over, and you got to a point to where you're like tired of it now. Like, you're really done. It's a cycle that you want to end. And what I want to encourage you also, that just like she says in the song, that she's better alone than to be unhappy, and that she says she's gonna make it anyways. That's your message, regardless of what you're having to release right now, regardless of how hard it might feel. You are going to make it anyway. Yes, it's not right, it's not okay, but you are going to make it anyways. And this situation is one of those things that's going to catapult that positive change for you. They're going to catapult you to that positive change. It's that thing that's pushing you to that positive change. You know, you're at a point where something that doesn't belong in your life is being released to make room for what does belong. It needed to go. It needed to go. And I know that this is might trigger a time of healing for you and of reflection. And I want to encourage you that don't, this is, it's okay. It's okay. Life happens. We cannot predict how people are going to behave. We only know ourselves and our hearts, and we can only control how we show up in situations and things. And sometimes we open our hearts to those who don't treat it right. That doesn't mean that we lack a sense of judgment, or we don't have discernment, or we're not sensitive enough, or we have failed ourselves. You haven't failed. There are people who are allowed into our lives to serve a purpose, even those experiences that are not positive. They're there to teach us and to prepare us sometimes for the things that are meant to be. This situation has taught you something about yourself, about life. Now it's equipped you with something that will help you be able to recognize in the future what is for you and what is meant for you. It's not your fault. No, you didn't deserve it. No, it doesn't mean that you have purposely brought this into your life. No, it doesn't mean any of that. It was just something that happened, and it was there to teach you a lesson. It has served its purpose, and now you're being released from it. You have been released from it. Release it. Release it. You have never lost anything when you have the Most High. You have never lost anything when you have yourself. Because those are the things that you will always have. And they are the things that will never fail you. Always tap in with whatever you believe in, especially now. Tap in for encouragement. Tap in for guidance. Tap in for protection. Tap in for motivation, whatever you might need. You're not alone. If you're a spiritual person, you are not alone. Your angels, your spirit guides, your ancestors, whatever you believe in, they're always with you. And you're experiencing this with them holding you. I always like to think of myself like I am like standing when there's a lot of people behind my back just holding me up in this experience. These are those who came before me, those who are part of my spiritual team, and God above all. There's always something holding me up. Because when I think about what I've been through in life, and the fact that I've made it this far, the fact that I'm still here, the moments that I felt that I couldn't see myself being here like the next minute, the next second. And yet I'm still here. And the growth and the everything that I've made, especially when it comes to faith, I'm like something has to have been working with me, has been working in my life and ensuring that I stay alive and stay safe and that I'm still here and keep going. Because there were moments where I wasn't moving. I wasn't doing much to serve my body well, to feed anything, to nourish anything that is good in my life, right? You know, when you go days when you feel like you cannot eat, you cannot properly drink, properly nourish your mind, body, soul, spirit, everything, but you still have made it through those days. Like I had to be like, I know I believe, but now I really believe. It's like it's one of those things that remind you, like when you are at your lowest, that you connect the best, connect more with the things that do serve you. That you connect with yourself, that you connect with the Most High, you connect to God, you connect to whatever is actually there to serve you. You start to realize how much you are actually loved. You start to realize how much has actually been divine intervention. You know, those moments when you almost fell, something almost really tragic has happened to you, but somehow you were saved. These are the moments that remind you that you have never been alone, that there's something working on your behalf. There's a reason why I've said this. Maybe whatever situation that is happening for you right now that you might have to release is something that is being very heavy on you. Maybe you're having thoughts of depression. It has is putting you through a depression or anything like that. If there's nothing else you can do, I want you to ask for help. Just say, God, help me. God, be my strength. Or just, God, help me. Or just be like, if there's any God out there, if there's any spiritual team, if I have a spiritual team, if there's a divine creator, if there's anything out there, universe, ancestors, or whatever it is, Be like, even if you don't believe in anything, just be like, if there's anything out there that is for me, that is supporting me, please show yourself in my life. Please help me. If the only thing you can say right now is help, then say that. Ask God for help and see how God will work through you. There's a reason why you're seeing this. I wouldn't have been telling you these things if changes wouldn't come if you did this. I believe that because I believe in the power of words. I believe in the power of my words. As I've spoken, it has already been divinely heard and actions have already been taken. So if you believe and you do ask, you will see the changes. It wasn't right. It wasn't okay, but you're going to make it anyways. You're going to make it anyways. Just like how you've made it this far, you're going to keep going. And this is going to be part of your testimony, part of your story that you're going to remember for the lessons that he has taught you. And you're going to be on the other side one day and see the purpose and the reason behind this. Because nothing just happens just because. God unconditionally loves every single one of us. God unconditionally loves every single one of us. And the birds, I'm hearing the birds right now. Maybe that might be confirmation. God loves every single one of us unconditionally. Whether we believe it or not, whether we perceive it or not, God is always acting on our behalf, always aligning things for our good. And you're not an exception. You are part of that love. If you had to do something to earn God's love, then God's love would have been conditional. But you don't. Just because of you being who you are already unconditionally loved. And you will always be unconditionally loved by the Most High. Yes, you're not an exception. You're not an exception. Regardless of what you may be thinking or believing about yourself, that is negative, that is not true, first of all. It is not true. You are loved. All those negative thoughts that are trying to come, they're trying to block you from receiving this divine love that you already have, that is already your birthright. They're trying to block that freedom that is your birthright. It is not true. Those negative thoughts are trying to tell you otherwise. Anything that isn't love, it is not true. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. And I pray that you get to see that and feel it. I pray that as you're watching this video, you feel a warmth, a chill come through you. I pray that you feel God's presence, God's. I pray that you feel the divine support that's around you. I pray that you hear a noise or feel something in your spirit that just helps you feel loved, seen. I pray for God's comfort over you. I pray for God's peace that surpasses all understanding over you as you're watching this, or at some point after you watch this. I pray that God shows up and shows out for you in every way. The other thing that I wanted to also talk about in this video is Miley Cyrus' song, Wrecking Ball. And from my research, at least, correct me if I'm wrong, she was 20 when this song came out. And the way she showed up in that video, the way it was made, somebody actually criticized the video, talking about how it wasn't appropriate for, it wasn't good representation for younger women. It wasn't giving a good example, for younger women and for women in general, people watching this. It wasn't a good portrayal of women, basically. And she was very young. And, as someone with of a level of influence and having younger followers like that, even she herself was young. And let me talk about it. There's a a article I found in an interview done um, on Vogue Australia. This is what they quoted that Miley said. She said that okay, this is I think what she was she's what she's had to say about the wrecking ball. It says that she said that that's something you can't take away. Swinging around naked on a wrecking ball lives forever. Once you do that, it's forever. I'm never living that down. I will always be the naked girl on the wrecking ball. That's my worst nightmare. That being played at my funeral. So I'm quoting this. And when they did this interview, she was 24 years old. And this interview was on a radio show, the Zach Sang Show, something like that. So basically, I guess that song was supposed to be a reflection of a relationship that she was having to release, and or that was being released, or something like that in her life. It was something that was ending, and she was, and the song was about us basically her struggles in that relationship with through that journey, at least from what I'm understanding. And the way she showed herself, expressed herself in that video, could have been a reflection of because of where she was mentally. But this is something that, you know, 4 years after, she really regretted. And, you know, sometimes there are things that's why it's advised not to act with emotions. So whatever it is that you're going through in your life right now, you're feeling emotional about, try to sit with yourself and work through your emotions rather than being responsive and reacting. Respond to you and your needs right now, but don't try to maybe put it out there on other people or in a way that you might regret later. That's one of the lessons or the messages that I'm taking with this. Be mindful of how you act right now. You need to focus on your healing and taking care of yourself more than you need revenge or going out there and trying to do things. Like, you know how some people, like, the way we deal with things is to overwork ourselves, is to go out there and try to do something hoping that it will mask how we really feel. And in doing that, we can end up actually acting in ways that don't serve us, and in ways that we end up regretting more, you know. And you might regret actions that you have taken in this situation that has happened. You might regret things that have happened, and you might feel guilty. Sit with yourself and work through that. If you need therapy, take that. If you have people that you can trust, lean on them. Focus on you. That's where you need to be right now, more than trying to do anything that would mean like masking or running away from this situation. Take a step back from things that can distract you in a way that wouldn't serve you concerning this. If you need to work through your emotions, do that. But try not to end up taking actions that you know you wouldn't have taken when you are feeling your normal self, so that you don't have things that you might regret later. You know? Like, none of us are perfect, and we will never be. There was always going to be in our journey somebody who wrongs us or somebody that we wrong. And if we think of ourselves in situations like what others can do for us, it's also possible that we can be the people to do that, or we have done or might do some versions of that, maybe not at that level. I'm not saying this to excuse anything, I'm just saying this to say that maybe it could be something that can help encourage you, to help provide something for you right now that could be helpful in any way, shape, or form. I'm saying that to say also that we make mistakes the same way others make mistakes. The way we're able to give grace to others, we can give grace to ourselves. This might not be a moment where grace is the focus, um, but eventually it is part of the journey, so you're able to release. And the way you're able to release the guilt is the way it's is by being able to have grace, especially for yourself. I wish you all the best always. Hopefully, something here might have resonated with you. Remember that these messages are suggestions. You know, I don't know your particular situation, and only you know which part of this might have resonated with you. But remember, ultimately, it's your choice whether to heed to the messages or not. It's up to you to be able to discern what is and isn't for you, and how and what you want to apply in your life or not. That's why I always encourage, go ask God for more. Go ask God for confirmation or whatever you believe in, or what you can do about your particular situation. Peace, love, and light always. Wishing you the best. You got this.